big shot New York lawyer. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing. Because Keith is just, he's the mom from one of these Hallmark movies of talking about,
my baby moved away and she's so smart.
Too good for us here in old small Neptune.
No, but it's the opposite. It's like, you can't come back.
But but they say that in those movies, right? But it's like, we don't want you coming back. It's like, you're too good for here. But they still, they say that.
Exactly.
Never visit your mother.
Wallace and Mac show up because they're going to all go to dinner. Wallace and Mac are dressed very formally. And Wallace is like, hey, real quick, I have this video that I got of when Carrie Bishop and her best friend
Susan Knight,
who died, they did a duet in the talent show, and then the next year, the girl who's now our stalker, she did the same thing, but obviously not as a duet because she was alone.
Yeah, Delapue.
So
Susan, they mentioned Susan Knight had died a year after Veronica
transferred.
Yeah, transferred. And if you remember, again, mentioned it briefly, but she was the student who had the affair with Mr. Rooks and got pregnant from him. And that was in season 1, Mars versus Mars. Which episode was that? 14. So
then Veronica's like, well, I'll look this over while we're at dinner at the Crab Shack or whatever it was, like lobster, I don't know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Keith is like, oh, my daughter, she used to be so smart. She used to be such a good, smart lady. Now she dumb, dull. And they're like, we're taking you to the reunion. And we invited Piz.
Yep. He's flying in and it's like, oh, joy.
But they didn't bring him to the house first. He has to go straight there.
Yeah, straight there. Well, who knows when he was able to get a plane? He probably had to interview someone for NPR.
Yeah. So we get to the reunion. Madison Sinclair bullies her. I'm just summarizing.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Dick is there. Veronica keeps looking for a drink because she keeps running into these really awkward scenarios, and Dick offers her his dick flask.
Mm-hmm. And well, when she's walking along with Mac. And then we get a tour of all cast members past or characters past of this. Gia returns. We're all very excited about Gia.
We see Gia. I loved Gia. What a babe. That's what I wrote. She's like, hey, I used to hate you, but my therapist told me that's misplaced aggression.
Right. It's fucking great because it's just like, yeah, for exposing my dad was a pedo or whatever. Uh-huh. But, now it's okay. Now we're okay. I fucking love this like energy of like, I'm just going to tell you everything right now. And we used to be enemies, but that was one-sided because you didn't know because that was all in my head. But like I worked it out in therapy. So now we're going to be okay and we're going to be best friends. How you doing?
Yeah. You want to come to my party? And then a stoner dude we knew, he makes duct tape wallets now.
Yeah. It sells them on Etsy. Fucking loved it. I'm like, hell yeah. This dude's making money.
And then Weevil has a wife,
a
baby. He's having tea parties, and he owns an auto shop.
Another person, Francis Capra, looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Weevil thing. And you can tell, too, the very good touch of, like, his wife is, like, taken aback by meeting Veronica because obviously she's fucking heard stories of Veronica. So she's like, oh, hey.
You're the reason he's not in jail.
So, like, I feel like this reunion is a good encapsulation of like what's fun about the movie if you like watch the show all the way through and have been paying attention like we have. It is like really rewarding of like here's all the beats and checking in with all these characters and like rewards you having paid attention to the show and you're like, oh, look at this is so much fun. Hey, I remember this guy. So that's this is the stuff that I really liked about the movie. And like while the other stuff that is like less explained, like if you didn't watch the show, you'd be like, or even if you did watch the show, you're like, who the fuck is Susan Knight? Who the fuck is Carrie Bishop? Like this kind of stuff with recurring characters. And they like check in where Veronica's like, oh, hey, it's been so long. How are you? I make duct tape wallets. Like, that's great.
And the other thing my issue with what they do with Weevil's plot is he's like, yeah, I haven't been on my bike since the baby was born.
Yeah.
And it's like, your motorcycle was never the problem. They're legal. You're allowed to have that.
Totally.
I mean,
But while I do understand it's not safe to ride motorcycles.
yeah. No, definitely. I don't want to be on one. But like it was the motorcycle collective that you were part of.
Motorcycle Coalition.
So then currently we also at the same time while this is all happening, Logan gets there.
One thing I forgot to mention, when there's the stop and frisk thing and they like beat up the kids, like PCHers are implied to roll up, but they do nothing just to like scare off the cops.
Yeah, it's just like they're there to back up their
Yeah,
friend.
it's just like this weird moment that goes unremarked.
And Logan's there. It's really awkward because they're just like circling each other kind of at the event, but not. And
Right.
They both had said they weren't going, and then they're both there. We never, like Logan's reason for being there is shoddy at best.
Yeah, but that's just how it works. He's like, I'm gonna that. It makes sense that it doesn't make sense because he's like, yeah, I wanted to come here to clear my name and make sure they didn't say anything bad about Carrie. But like, of course they're gonna do weird shit anyway.
Yeah.
But I like Weevil being like, no shit.
Look who's here.
Yeah, this fucking guy.
So then we're sitting here and we're doing all this reunion shit, and then we get a nice little Madison Sinclair presentation of an in memoriam of every classmate who has died.
What the fuck? They can't actually do this at real high school reunions, do they?
I don't know. I've never been to one.
I know, but like, I'm just saying, it is insane.
I don't think
also.
I'm going to be invited to mine.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
I
were
mean, we
invited
don't
to
need to
yours.
go. Yeah, mine. I
But
think mine got rescheduled to this year. I don't know if I can go in that. But
should I go to yours and like pretend like I went there?
there you go.
Oh my god, you don't remember me? Well, that's probably a good thing.
But it's so wild. And it's like people that died when they're in school and like people that were murdered.
So it's like, okay, classmates who died. We start off strong. We start with Felix,
Felix,
who was murdered by Weevil.
No.
Oh, no. I was thinking of what's his name, who was in the building when it blows up.
Yeah, Thumper.
Yeah.
No, Felix is what kicks off season 2.
Yeah. Sorry, wrong story.
He gets killed by Thumper.
Yeah.
But
we don't get to. We guess we don't get one for Thumper.
No.
Okay.
Not mentioned.
Meg died. We remember that.
Yeah.
We thought Meg came back to life and Meg died. Carrie Bishop. Susan Knight. We don't get one for Lily Kane, do we?
No.
Or Duncan?
No.
Who we would, I guess, because we don't know what happened to Duncan.
Right. But like, I mean, this presentation is already off to a pretty rocky start. I wouldn't have been surprised if they included like Duncan MIA.
Yep. So one thing
Picture of him in Australia.
we learned on our date with our stalker is that Carrie had recently gotten a tattoo that meant serendipity. And our stalker had like a whole conspiracy theory behind this, but we find out
around like her album being some sort of confession, and that's where it comes back around to the faith thing and boning a priest.
So then serendipity is actually the name of the boat that Susan had allegedly drowned on, and Veronica's like, I'm wondering if this tattoo is a connection to something malicious having happened, that maybe it wasn't, because they never found Susan Bones' body. So maybe it was
Susan Knight.
Susan
Bones.
I think that's from Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think so.
Thought you're gesturing at what happened to her.
Wink, wink. No. And they never found her body. So Veronica runs out to tell Logan, because Logan had stepped outside, like, hey, I think that these are all connected somehow. While Veronica's doing that, Logan tells her that other people on the boat were Dick, Gia, Cobb, and
Luke. Who maybe that's later. Well, it is later. Never mind. I'll mention it when we get to it. But that there were all those people there with Susan and Carrie.
Yes. So then, while this is happening and they're outside, Piz gets there. He walks up to Mac and Wallace. We get a cute little reunion.
He's welcomed enthusiastically, and we're all like, "Yes, please come. We've been waiting."
While this is happening, Madison is still doing her awful presentation. She finally does one that is person who came the furthest.
Yes.
And on the screen shows up Veronica and Piz's sex tape.
This poor fucking guy. He does not know that his girlfriend is not where she says she is. She's outside, but she's talking to her ex and is like on her way out. He thinks that she knows that he's coming to Neptune.
Well, she did know he was coming.
Oh, right, that she was part of the plan to bring him there.
I think
you
it
don't
was
think
a
so?
surprise. I think they had him come as a surprise.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes me but still. Then he arrives and he is subjected to one of the reliving one of the worst moments of his life.
So, well, I would argue, yeah, it's a weird one. So Veronica, Matt comes
obviously
outside.
Worse for Veronica, but I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Matt
there's
comes
a lot of
out
stuff there.
to get Veronica. She's like, "Hey, by the way, Piz is here, and also, your sex tape is playing."
Yeah.
They go inside. Logan immediately starts beating the shit out of people because Logan.
Yep.
Piz goes, "Oh my god!"
Now he's got Navy training, so he's like, I can like fucking like break
take you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Piz is like, "Wow, this actually does sit on a hell mound. Like this is the worst school. You're right."
Mm-hmm.
Wallace, the only normal member of this society,
but then he joins in. He's like, "This is what men do, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Weevil also joins in because Weevil's like, "Hey, I haven't punched anybody in years."
Yeah, this will be fun. And Veronica's his girl.
Yeah,
Like
totally. So he's like
his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So then Wallace is like, you know what? Before we start doing all this, I'm gonna go unplug the projector.
Maybe we should take steps to
Get the
remedy the
sex tape off
situation instead of swinging fists wildly.
And then he comes back, and then he joins the fight.
Yes. Because
Why?
he's like, because Piz is getting beat up.
Yeah.
He's got to help out now. He's like, damn, this has gotten out of control.
God, what a fucking nightmare. So then Veronica is like, you know what I'm gonna do? She pulls out a lighter and she holds it up under the smoke detector so that the sprinklers go off.
Smart.
Does that work?
It would at least sound the alarm.
Probably, yeah.
So at least then you get this deafening like emergency thing and people have to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's definitely a movie thing. It's like the fire alarm then sets off the sprinklers, but I don't know.
I mean, I know that's true in like the dorms that they'd eventually set off the sprinklers.
I know. I assume it would work at most places. I don't know.
So then
I'm no fireman, I guess.
So the drama ensues. Madison Sinclair comes back to bully Veronica. Veronica punches her in the face. It feels good. We feel good about
Fantastic.
that.
Yeah. She's like, "What are you gonna do? Taser me?"
Veronica's like, "No."
I'm gonna
Bop,
fucking yeah, exactly. Give you a. Oh, never mind. I
And
can't think
then
of what she was gonna give her.
we cut over to our
Two sounds.
Madison being an asshole and Veronica hitting her in the face.
Her hitting Madison. Madison hitting the floor.
There we go. We cut over to our favorite high school principal. And he's like, "God damn it. What is happening? The school put down the deposit for this, blah, 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 blah." And he passes Veronica on the stairs. And she's like, "Hi, Mr. C." And she's like, "Did you miss me?" And he was like, "It's been 10 quiet years."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "It's been boring without you."
Yeah,
like,
I fucking loved it. Yeah. Oh, it's great.
We're outside. Veronica has ice for Piz. Logan walks up. He's like, "Piz, thanks for jumping in." And Veronica's like, "Hey, Piz, you want to go to an after party?" And he's like, "Will Logan be there?" And she's like, "Oh, no. No. Definitely not." So
Yeah, definitely giving him uncomfortable. Hey, remember, like, I just saw the sex tape and then got in a fight, and then you came over and was like, "Hey, thanks for jumping in." It's like, this is all reminding me of when he punched me in the face, and then like semi-apologized by slapping me on the shoulder.
They want to go. They go to this party, and we get a scene where Piz is dancing like nobody's watching.
He has the most arm movement I've ever seen on screen since Mac on Always Sunny.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love it. And while we have the scene of Mac, Piz, and Wallace dancing, we also have Veronica giving us a monologue about how she is, it's like, "Oh yeah, I had an ulterior motive for being here. I knew everyone that would be on the boat would be at Gia's party, so I'm going to interview them." So then they go over to a table. Veronica's like, "Let me go get everyone a drink."
But then she also frames it again as like that she's like sneaking drinks. Is like the metaphor of like that drug. I'm good at putting on a brave face, but they don't know that I'm like out here like indulging in my dark thing of interviewing everybody to figure out the crime.
Just like how my mom was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's awful. So then Veronica is like, I'm gonna go get everyone drinks, and then she's like, I'm gonna go interview people while I do this. So she goes to find Dick. She's like, Dick, what happened the night of Susan Knight's death? And he's like, we were drunk on a boat. We went to sleep. We woke up. Susan was gone.
Yeah, and he's like, oh great, yeah, fun times at the party.
She goes over to talk to Cobb. He's like, she was peeking over the side. Next thing I know, we didn't see her again. I have PTSD.
Exactly, pretty much. Cobb, a new character for the movie, played by Martin Starr. Damn, if only I really like Martin Starr. I think he can be like used so well, and he is just completely misused here in a absolutely thankless and nothing role. When he just has to be like a plain old dude, and then like later the reveal of the bad guy, but like we don't. It's rough. I like the like mean nerd that he'll play in like Silicon Valley, or the really sensitive nerd in Freaks and Geeks, or even the like obnoxious one that he plays in Party Down. There's like the man's got range and charisma. You can like fucking put him in something. So it just sucks.
So then we cut over to Luke, and he's like, yeah, we lost her, you know. We asked Luke. He's like, yeah, she's gone. And then Gia comes up, and she's like...
So Luke also from the original series, way back, season 1.
And then Gia comes up, and she's like, oh my God, Veronica. And Luke's like, yeah, Veronica was just asking me about the night Susan Knight died. And Gia's like, oh, that's not happy. She's like, we're getting married.
Luke and Gia are getting married.
Look, he's the son of a congressman. They kept saying son of a congressman. And I kept being like, son of a bitch. And then Gia kept saying that if Carrie she's like, yeah, you know, like, and Veronica's like, oh, I'm sorry about Carrie too, like I know you guys were friends. And she's like, if she had just showed up on time, she'd still be alive.
Yeah, because she was the last person. She was over at Carrie's house and was the last person to see her alive. And then Cobb sneaks by and was just like, hey, like, I'm gonna run back to the apartment and go like get some stuff. And
she's like, can you bring ice and wine?
Right, which
and
sets
aspirin.
Which sets up that he lives nearby.
So then we cut over to Weevil. He's driving back after dropping the babysitter off, and his wife's like, hey, can you go pick up diapers on the way home?
Yeah.
He sees
good dad Weevil.
Exactly. Well, is it a good dad, or is he just doing his fucking job as a dad?
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know.
Fulfilling requirements, Weevil.
Baseline needed.
Yeah, there you go.
We don't credit men for babysitting their own children.
You're 100% correct. And he didn't even. He was dropping off the babysitter.
Exactly.
But they were at the reunion, so.
Yeah. So a woman's car has been surrounded by bikes from the PCHers, the bike coalition.
Right.
And he goes up
and
knocks on...
They're going like, woo, we gonna kill you. No, they're not saying that, but...
Where are they from?
I don't know.
Have you ever... Never mind. You know what?
That's the accent from Hometown.
We realize that the woman in the car is Celeste Kane, the wealthiest divorcee in town.
Well, we realize after she shoots Weevil.
Weevil walks up, he knocks on the door. No, because she's calling the police.
Yeah, but
in
you
the
can't.
car.
But it's hard to see like who she is.
And then Weevil knocks on the window. He's like, "Do you need help?" Whatever, and she shoots him.
And then we get then she looks out the window, gets a close up shot of her face.
So then we cut over to the Mars household. It's the morning. Piz is there. Piz is leaving. And Keith is like, "What do you mean?" Because he gets a phone call that a cab's there. It's for Piz though, and he's like, well, I was going to drive Veronica. And Piz is like, well, I'm going to go back today. Veronica has a couple extra days. She's going to stay, wrap up some things. And then... I'm
being very understanding about this. This is going to work out, right, Veronica? You're going to come back.
And then Keith is like, okay, like, goodbye, Stosh.
Grills him a little for sleeping in his daughter's bed.
Well, in his daughter's room. We don't know where Piz slept. He could have slept on the floor.
That's right.
They have a sex tape, but he could have slept on the floor.
He's got a sleeping bag. He slept on the floor by himself.
So then Veronica has a couple.
Veronica, you up?
Has a couple extra days to start her job. And Keith is like, okay, well, Sounds good. Okay, bye. He gets a phone call that Weevil is in the hospital. So he's like, Veronica comes with him to go check on Weevil. We go to Weevil's hospital bed. Cliff is there too.
Mm-hmm.
We're all standing around Weevil.
Totally.
And Cliff reads the case. And Celeste has said that Weevil approached her car, knocked on the window, and yelled, "What?
Time to party," or it's party time.
It's party time.
Yeah.
And Weevil's like, "Veronica, you have to do something about this. I can't let people think that I said that."
Yeah, that it's time to party. Yeah.
And that there had been a gun planted in his car.
Totally. Honestly, I like this storyline so much more.
Mm-hmm.
If we could have like gotten into like way more how the police was like corrupt in Neptune rather than like another murder mystery, damn. Or that the murder was connected back to the police department.
Yeah.
Rob Thomas, you say you like noir so much, maybe you should like learn a little from them. I apologize.
It's okay.
I apologize.
We like
Rob
it.
Thomas is my enemy, I feel.
Is it because you're looking in a mirror? But so
No.
Cliff is like, yeah, I have other clients who say the same thing, that evidence was planted by the police station. So then we cut over to the police station. We get a call. Sax is like, "Hey, sheriff, you've got a call."
Well, before Keith tries to throw Veronica off the case.
Oh.
She's like, "You can't do that. I don't have a badge."
I don't have a badge.
Yeah, I was thinking like cops.
Oh,
Cop
yeah.
procedurals. Question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think she has to renew her PI license?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So Sax tells Lamb that he has a call. You probably have to have like certain number of credits, and like she solves so many cases at such a young age that it probably
she's got all
like
these
once every 10 years,
Hey, Veronica, there's been an issue with your credits. Some of these can only apply to general ed PI training and doesn't actually apply to your major.
Sax is like, "Hey, Lamb, there's a call from Monica Vasquez from Channel 9 News." And we get Veronica doing her age-old skit again.
We get a classic skit, everybody's favorite.
Where she's like,
I mean,
"Hey,
it's pretty good. I don't dislike it.
No. Will you send me the case file? Like, I'll go on a date with you or whatever." To Lamb. Lamb sends her the case file. That's basically what it is.
I know it is, but it's like, hey, like it's more like the like sleazy, like, oh, hey, like maybe there'd be something worth your while.
Mm-hmm. He sends her the case file. We then cut over to the FBI. Veronica enters the FBI building.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of the Lamb scene, he talks about having Google alerts for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We love Google alerts.
Mm-hmm. But it's very funny that this is also played by Jerry O'Connell, so it's another person that just like fucking stands out.
It is a
Yeah, and I think this gets into I'll actually save it for the James Franco part.
Okay. So Leo comes back to work and someone at the front desk is like, "Hey, there's someone sitting at your desk." And we asked her to wait in the front, but she wouldn't. And so he walks over to his desk, and there sits Veronica Mars.
He's in his polo and shorts with the SFPD.
Is he at the SFPD?
Yes.
I thought it was the FBI.
No, sorry, SDPD.
SDPD.
Yeah, I think he's at the San Diego Police Department.
For some reason, I thought it was FBI.
SFPD. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna double check.
Maybe it's because he says, "Oh, you were in the FBI."
Yeah, he's like, "Weren't you in the FBI?" And she goes, "In another life." Hey, wink, wink.
That
nod,
was the
nod.
other thing I was going to say earlier. That's the one I was like, they nod to that with Leo. Like Leo is always the one doing that.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I was so worried I was going to forget that. I was like, I know there's a reason why this is really bothering me.
So I didn't remember that at the top of my head, but I'm like, I think there's something that if I bring it up later, that it'll come back up. Let me do some digging because it's not in the recap I have.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is the
backup
PD.
on my own.
So ignore what I said about the FBI, but he's a detective, basically.
Let's see. I'll look. I found all these pictures of Max Greenfield.
Oh, what a lovely man.
Let's see. Yep, San Diego Police Department.
Cool. So he fucks with Veronica because he's like, "Hey, first time you came to me and you wanted things, like you brought me pizza." And she's like, "I was also a child."
Yeah, she says that without saying that. You were in the PD. I was in high school.
My dad was not happy about this.
No, neither was the law.
So she's like, I just want to know, when you interviewed Carrie Bishop after the death of Susan Knight, what she said. And he's like, oh, she was all fucked up and stressed. He was like, her statement was really like panicked. But then like a legal team came in. They weren't allowed to answer any more questions, and we never found a body.
Yeah. Then they all, everybody, all of the witnesses started having the same story.
Mm-hmm. He's like, how did you get the entire case file? And she's like, I have my ways. Then she goes over to Logan's house. She needs to talk to Logan. Dick is there. He's like, look through the Instagram of the reunion. Look at all these photos, which is, for the children out there, back how we used to use Instagram. It was like no, isn't it Instagram? I thought it was an Instagram feed.
I thought it was Facebook.
Oh.
It looked like a Facebook album.
Oh, I thought it was an Instagram feed, because we used to just like drop like multiple photos at the same time.
You could be right.
I could be wrong. But they're looking through photos from the party, and Veronica's like, wait a minute, the photo they used at the reunion of Carrie and Susan standing in front of the Serendipity has the anchor on it. But the photo from after the death doesn't have the anchor on it. Therefore, how did they not notice the anchor was missing from the ship?
Right, to begin with. Well,
Yeah.
the police department didn't really like investigate that.
Yeah.
The sheriff's department, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you like asking Dick? It's just like, what is the difference between these two? Well, one's in black and white.
And then while they're there, also they get notified that another Bonnie private video was released. And Veronica asked Mac if someone could hack a camera, because Bonnie had a tablet that she'd gotten from the MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah. And it was a video of her and another guy from their high school, Sean.
Yes.
I did like
smoking weed together, and then we assume they were having an affair. We know they were having an affair.
We know that, yeah. But I had to like look back, and I'm like, damn it, what was this character's name? Another one.
So then
all the way back from the poker game, if everybody remembers that one.
Yeah, he's the one who pretended to be wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So then we know that we think there was spy software put on all these tablets from the MTV Movie Awards. So thank you, Mac. We then get a really weird scene where we talk about how people are a certain number of 7 degrees from 7 bacon. So you're 2 degrees
Kevin
from
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Nope.
7 bacon.
7 bacon.
Let me tell you, 6 degrees from 7 bacon.
7 bacon. God. But we find out that you're always only 2 degrees from James Franco, and then she proceeds to use a list of 3. Dick to Dick's hair waxer, then his hair waxer to the assistant, and then the assistant to James Franco. That's 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a weird cameo of like, hey, we got James Franco in this, and he's playing like
James Franco,
like, you know, quote unquote movie star, like he does in like the Seth Rogen comedies and stuff, of like, I'm an idiot, like movie star, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, and so the thing is that he had a tape that released of him trying on pants that had been caught on spy software, we assume, because there's no reason why it would, you know, like he wouldn't have released it of himself.
Totally.
So basically, Veronica and his assistant tell him about that. Veronica then is like, I want to use your assistant to smoke out the spy. So the assistant records on the tablet, like, hey, I know you're into like secret videos of famous people. I have a bunch. And so then meet me here at the pier at 3 p.m.
Yeah. So before we jump there, one of the things, so we have James Franco. He's probably here because they're friends of friends, and they can get him in. And hey, here's this weird, fun cameo we'll do, which I think makes it feel weird in hindsight. I think it's cool that the Kickstarter to get the movie made, but then it also runs this weird thing of like, why are people that have connections and wealth like this reaching out to fans to fund these things? This is what eventually became a more of a controversy with the Kickstarter that was after this that got a lot of publicity, which is Zach Braff kickstarted his movie, and that got a bunch of flack of like, why is he on here like taking away from like the independent creators that are trying to get their like smaller things made for like thousands of dollars, instead of like these huge movie stars that are coming in and cannibalizing things and throwing off the market, so to speak.
Like when Bella Thorne made an OnlyFans.
Totally. Yeah. That is the new modern age of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like weird because then, you know, you've got like a shit ton of famous people in this, like very obviously like just coming in. So it's like, well, okay, so if he's, and Rob Thomas is no industry newbie. So it just feels odd. It feels a little weird.
Yeah, like, oh, or did you need to just like write a better story to have it created?
Or like, could you have secured the funding? Could you have used more of your own pocket to help like fund this movie? Because really, for Warner Bros. To distribute it, they just didn't want to put up the money. Could you have found your own pocket, use your own money to like push this through, without having to take away from other creators on that platform? So it's a weird situation.
So then we go bust to who had the spy software on the iPads. Well, we go to the pier to figure it out. And who is it? Our buddy
Vinny Van Lowe, who is throwing popcorn at a guy in a monkey suit and telling him how bad, asking him to dance and telling him how bad of a monkey he is.
So then Veronica goes up to him. He's like, why don't you come back to my van and I'll show you what I've got or whatever. And then she's like, really? And she looks at him and he's like, oh my God, it's V Mars. And he calls her Neptune's own Angela Lansbury.
Loved it.
That was my favorite. And then they go back to his van. He's like, you should be happy for me, V Mars. I make money off people. Like I just make fun of the wealthy basically. And like, that's how I make my money.
Yeah, totally.
He's like, what's in it for me to do this though? And she's like, I will tell 50 Cent security team who released the footage of him. Because I know it was you. Because there's obviously been leaked videos of lots of people. Basically what Vinny did is he put spy software on a bunch of iPads that were then given out at the MTV Movie Awards.
Samsung tablets.
So then he gives Veronica all the footage he has off of Bonnie's
Carrie Bishop's.
Yeah, Carrie Bishop's Samsung tablet. Logan and Veronica review the footage, and they know that Gia got Logan to come over because she texted him off the tablet.
Yeah, there's a video of her at the 09er texting off the tablet.
Before Logan went over to
check on her.
To check on Carrie.
Yeah.
So then
it's like the same time that he would have received the text.
So then Veronica and Logan go to the sheriff department to lay this all out for our new Sheriff Lamb.
Yeah, Veronica really jumps the gun here, which I felt was weird because Veronica she knows not to go to like the sheriff without like anything else to go off of. All she has is like this like video.
So she's like, well, she wanted to know how they decided what time Carrie died.
Right.
And so he's like, well, we looked at what time Logan came in and what time Logan left, you know.
Right.
And you're like, no.
That's not how that works.
Veronica breaks down her version of this. She's like, Gia Goodman brought her son of a congressman boyfriend in with her. They came in, one of them killed, she took the tablet, she left, changed the security code, whatever. Veronica lays it all out. Lamb does not give a fuck. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah. He's like, I don't give a shit. Everybody says Logan's guilty. Logan's guilty.
And then we cut over. Veronica calls Piz. She's like, hey. Piz. He's like, you shouldn't be able to call me. You're on an airplane. She's like, I'm not on an airplane. And he's like, well, me and my parents are out here waiting for you. And he's like, I couldn't leave. And he's like, no, you wouldn't leave.
Yep, pretty much.
And she's like,
he's like, yeah, you could have.
He's like, she's like, could you try to understand why I didn't? And he was like, I could, but it's time for us to walk away from this. My parents are here and they came to meet you and you're not going to come back to meet them. And my mom is worried about her perm or her hair going flat before she meets you. And
her blowout.
Yeah, her blowout. And so like, obviously she wouldn't go and that's a whole thing, but like fly to New York, meet his parents, come back for case. Even if you're not going to take the job.
No, but it's not even the job. It shows that she's out.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
But I do feel like there's like that level of like the how rude it would be to not show up to meet someone's parents.
Totally. But that's how little she cares for Piz.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it infuriating.
Yep, it's weird and odd and I don't like it.
No, it's that same thing. It's he's boring. And that's the only thing we're given.
And then, her dad's like, hey, don't throw it all away. And then he gets a phone call. And then she's like, but I love the chase.
Ah.
And then, so we find out Keith's phone call was Deputy Sachs. He and Keith meet in a parking lot in a car. He's like, I want to talk to you. He's like,
Neptune's very own Deep Throat.
yeah. Sachs is like, hey, we're the bad guys. The gun they planted.
Oh my God. But wait, but he's like, I was watching a funny video on YouTube where Nazi soldiers.
He said I was watching a video. I don't think it was funny.
Oh, okay. But he said he was watching a video on YouTube
Uh-huh.
of Nazi soldiers looking at the skulls and shit. And he's like, and then I realized that we're the bad guys. It's like, what the fuck are you watching?
They've come a long way in targeted marketing.
Totally. Hey.
Are you part of a cult?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, fellow Klansmen.
He's like, we're the bad guys. He's like, the gun they planted on Weevil, I booked that into evidence myself. And then they see someone like watching them in the garage. So they go to drive away. They're like, we got to go. So they're driving and then they get fucking hit by a truck.
Yes. This is the second time Keith has been careened by a car. But this is the first time that it was intentionally hit.
Yeah. So Logan was on his way to Veronica's door. And they obviously, Keith met with Sachs like around the corner. Like they didn't go
Yeah, it was like in a parking garage.
And Logan runs over to the car because he saw the accident and he drags Keith out as you see the truck coming back to hit the car again just to make sure they're dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And so, Logan pulls him out.
So Logan drags Keith out from the car. The truck hits the car again, so we assume Sachs died.
Later confirmed that he did.
He was dead on arrival. And Keith gets taken to the hospital. He's in the ICU. Veronica won't be able to see him for a couple days, but he's going to be okay.
Yeah. Damn, like what a way for like Sachs to go out. And here's again this glimmer of this like cooler plot happening in the background that
like could he have been the mole?
Right. Or like and the same thing, it's just like what else are the police doing? Like let's get this like full investigation going. And but that's not what ends up happening in this movie. The bow that they put on it is rushed.
Mm-hmm. So then
because they just don't care. I mean, they're trying to fill out the plot and also facilitate Logan and Veronica getting back together, bar none.
Yes. So Veronica falls asleep in the car on the way back from the hospital. Logan carries her into the house and tucks her in. He writes a note and goes to leave, and then Veronica gets up and she's like, don't leave, stay. And then they make out, and we assume they have sex.
Yes.
And as I phrased it, I'm always horny after my dad gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, God. It's the fucking movie thing of just like, there's this horrible tragedy. The greatest aphrodisiac.
Yeah, eat some fucking chocolate or something. God. Order a pizza, have a night in, watch a movie.
Yeah, I just like that. I just immediately think, my dad died. Eat some chocolate, go to bed. He didn't die, but got injured.
So now it's the next morning. She's like, Logan, I will only focus on my father unless we solve this other case. So now I'm going to have to go spy on Gia. So she watches Gia by getting on the outside of the building across the street, and she plants a bug in flowers and has the flowers delivered. She had to use a shitty bug because her dad locked all the bugs away, so she has to use an FM radio station. So she uses one at the end of the dial, which is 109 point whatever or something like that.
Yeah, and Logan's like, you mean hard rockin'
109.9? So he's like, Neptune's newest radio station. She's like, well, it only goes for a certain number of yards, so I'm sure it's fine.
Also, I love 2014 Logan dedicated to the FM radio.
You know, if there's one thing I love about Logan, is that he is a stickler for the classics.
Yep.
You know what? You can catch him watching AM radio early in the morning.
You know what? He doesn't even watch baseball on TV.
He just listens to it.
Exactly. He's got that.
Sits on a roof and watches the game from afar.
Exactly. Go Padres. Got the radio on.
So Veronica calls Gia, and she uses a clip from the iPad of Carrie's voice to like call Gia, and it freaks Gia out. So Gia calls someone to come over and keep her company. We assume it's going to be the boyfriend, but it is in fact Cobb.
Yeah, because Luke is in a West Hollywood bathhouse because Logan was tailing him.
Yeah, which means that he's gay.
Yes. So
that was like a really like, I feel like if I had watched this in 2014, I would have been like, I don't get it.
Yeah, just, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I would have been like, okay.
The bathhouse is like classic like way of like, hey, here's shorthand for like, here's a place for like where like gay men go to meet up.
Let's just, call it what it is, or don't use it as a plot point.
Yeah. Spade a spade.
Spade a spade. Well, it's just like their obsession with like sexual assault and things like that. It's like
Hey.
we have to use these allusions to plot points.
Yeah. What makes you bring up that in particular?
Let me tell you, because Cobb comes over to hang out with Gia and they fuck. And Veronica can hear them through the bug on the radio.
Yep.
So then Cobb leaves. Veronica couldn't hear the end of their conversation, and Veronica goes over to Gia's. Cobb goes home. And when he gets home, his neighbor goes, "Hey, I heard you on the radio. Like, you like when she says your name."
Yeah, I always forget this actor's name, but he's in fucking everything in just these minor roles.
Cobb is like, "Oh," so then he listens to the radio and he can hear them, Veronica and Gia, as
Mm-hmm.
they talk. Veronica, turn off the bug. You're in the house.
Jesus Christ, Veronica.
You're out of the game, babe.
It's probably fine.
No.
Yeah.
So then Gia tells Veronica the full story. Cobb took Carrie's tablet. She's like, "Do you even remember Cobb in high school? He was this nerd, whatever. He always had the good drugs. So we brought him with him. We wanted drugs for when we went on that boat. We brought him with us because that was the only way he'd give us the drugs. We went. Susan got too fucked up. She bottomed out, went below deck."
Yeah, talks it and like mentions like, going on and on about the baby she gave up. Like, Jesus.
We went below deck. Susan was barely breathing. Carrie went to find Susan. Susan was dead. So then Cobb was like, "Well, you should weigh her down at the anchor and put her out at sea so we don't get in trouble."
Because Cobb had told them the night before, she'll sleep it off.
Yeah, she'll be fine. It's not true. If you think someone's ODing,
Yeah,
take him to the hospital.
totally.
So then they put an anchor on her and put her in the water. They didn't notice that Cobb wasn't helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Cobb took photos of them. So then afterwards, every time he wanted something, he would blackmail them with the photos. And he basically was like, "If you say anything, I will send these to everyone." And Veronica's like, "Well, what about Dick?" Because for some reason, Rob Thomas has to protect Dick.
Really, at all costs. It's so strange.
Because we never really find out, even in season 3, when he's like, "Oh, Logan, I fucked up," what he did.
No, we get zero answer to that. He arrives crying at Logan's doorstep and is like, "I fucked up."
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, "What did he do?" We don't know.
And so, they're like, "Oh no, actually," like, she's like, "What about Dick?" And she's like, "Well, Dick he was passed out downstairs. He doesn't know. He's the one that sells the story the best because he actually believes the story because it's what happened to him."
Right.
He went to
It's
sleep
so
and he woke up and
weird.
Susan was gone.
I don't understand why we have to write this thing of like, he was innocent.
So then Cobb uses them all for whatever he wants, and he likes Gia, so he uses Gia for sex.
Hey, guess what?
Sexual assault.
Our obsession's back.
Yeah, and so she's like, "You see,
Across this entire show.
she's like, he has an apartment across the way. I'm not even allowed to have curtains on my window."
It's God. It's so fucking nightmarish that
It's so
he just
nightmarish.
has to like twist the knife on women. And I think literally, if we go through the list of our main characters, there's like not one woman
that hasn't
has
been sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, like, in modern day, like 1 in 4, which is a scary statistic. But again, this is not used to like as a way to tell stories about sexual assault. It's just like
it's not like you're.
This guy's evil.
Let me show you how bad a man is, or let me show you how why a woman had to do a thing.
Totally. But like, it couldn't have just been you could have just stopped again. You could have, this goes all the way back to season 1. You could have stopped one moment before the sexual assault and it would have been just fine.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing goes for Veronica all the way back in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
All you needed was her friend to die and everybody hating her.
Yeah. So then, Gia's looking across to show Veronica where he lives, and she gets shot in the stomach.
Yeah, and dies.
And dies.
Like
basically.
instantly.
Well, Veronica's like, "Hang on, Gia." So she called 911.
And then
She's
it's
like, "A
just like,
cop's
thump.
down." Yeah. Gia flops over.
Yeah, like Jesus.
Cobb then.
It's the most unceremonious death. Well, I guess next to sex.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. I feel like we have a reputation of killing people off in the worst way on the show.
That is true. It just sucks because it's like, damn, Gia's the best.
So then Cobb comes into the house because he's like, "I gotta go catch Veronica now." And he turns on music as he hunts her because that's what everyone does.
Totally.
I always set the mood.
Little bit of movie magic.
And so then Veronica hides And
I guess so. Like I assume the music was if he shoots her, other people won't hear it, but you already heard the first shot.
Yeah.
So like,
no, and you saw it.
totally.
Like you shot across from one building to another.
Oh, I assumed he was like. I guess that would. I don't really know how that worked because then he comes in with like a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, damn, was he like sitting there with like a sniper or something? But like, no.
I don't know.
So I don't know. I don't know if he was like outside on the windowsill.
So then Veronica hides, and when he's finally getting close to her hiding spot, she calls Gia's cell phone so that then she can tase him, pepper spray him, and run. She runs downstairs to like this little like weird little like storage area.
Yeah.
She gets a golf club, breaks the light so that way it's harder to see. She takes a cat that's there, puts it in a trash can so that it'll make noise so that he thinks that's where she is.
I hate that she uses the cat, but I understand her back's against the wall.
Exactly. He comes down there, he shoots at the trash can, she hits him over the head with the golf club. The cat lives.
Yeah.
That is I wrote it down.
I was extremely worried that we were gonna get a cat dying.
So then we solve the case. We cut over.
Yeah, we get a real fast like clip
Conclusion.
show of like everything working out.
Mm-hmm. Then we have like the case on TV. We're watching a TV and it's like, okay, like here we go. Here's everything laid out. Here's what happened. Here's the facts. Did Gia have to die? Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
so
blah, blah.
Cobb getting arrested. Cobb did it. Killed Carrie. We don't really know the specifics. He did. Killed Gia. Then we also get footage of the lamb talking to Veronica and Logan saying like, hey, like, I don't care. I'm going to like still make Logan guilty anyway. And that was caught on footage and released. So like, looks like Sheriff Lamb's going to be voted out of office.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn it. That's the worst conclusion to like this. It's again, in the show, we see a lot of like police officers acting horribly and doing a really bad job. But it's like, but if the right person was in that job,
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
Yeah. So cute little Veronica Keith moment, etc. We then cut over to Logan and Veronica. It's the morning.
Oh yeah, because it's Keith and Veronica in the hospital, right? And he's like, oh no, that's later. Sorry.
Yeah. So then it's the morning. 180 days is how long Logan will be gone. He's going out.
He's in his navy whites,
Yeah.
but this time we're sad to see him in his navy whites.
But don't worry, because he's coming back, because 180 days is nothing. They waited 9 years for this, and their story is epic. Lives ruined, blood shed.
Our story is epic, you know.
And then she says, come back to me. And he says, always. And we go, oh.
Single tear of happiness.
And then
Yeah.
we cut over to Veronica, and she's like, you know what? I'm not going to go back to New York.
Fucking New York.
Because that's when she talks to her dad. They're
Yes.
playing games, and she's like, no, I think I'm going to stay. I got some things to do here. Veronica and Weevil meet at Mars Investigations after that to chat through what happened to Weevil. We see Weevil leave, and he is wearing his leather jacket, and he gets back on a motorcycle. So we know he's back on his addiction of motorcycling.
Right. Which is the worst. That's not how it works. And also, okay, so to walk through like Weevil's arc, obviously, of course, he would be fucking pissed that a white woman shot him and the sheriff department is framing him for murder.
But he's not stupid.
Exactly. And this is also shit he's been dealing with for his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So he, what is his reason for getting back with them? We don't really know, other than like maybe he's going to go get revenge. And I hate they do this every single time with Weevil. Every single episode where it's like Weevil is accidentally framed, which happens a lot. It's like Weevil didn't do it, but at the end,
he's like, well, I might as well have.
Exactly. He's contemplating something. It's the worst.
So then Veronica also has Max send her the sheriff's tax returns so she can look into him. And Veronica gives us a nice little speech about how she used to think that winning meant getting out of Neptune, but you can't win if you don't leave the ring, which is what the metaphor should have been for the whole fucking movie. You can't win if you leave the ring. I love that, because it's like, you know what? Like, I, as someone who left their small town and has no plans on going back, I would never say that like I won.
Totally.
Because I didn't stay to fix things. I didn't try to make it better. I was like, you know what? It's not going to work for me. I got to go.
Yeah, that this is an internal fight between like whether I go or stay.
Yeah, like, do I fix where I'm from or do I go somewhere better?
Exactly.
Which is like a real issue. Like, and I think it's something we see like politically, like people who tend to grow up in places they don't align with politically tend to move somewhere where they do. And therefore, those places they left become further and further fringe or like far in a different direction, or because everyone who disagrees with the people who live there leaves instead of staying to fight. Because individually, we're like, oh God, is it my job to like fix this?
Totally.
Like, and it's something I think a lot of us are quote unquote guilty of. And I think that would be a really interesting concept for Veronica because it's perfect and the framework is laid out. But instead, it's like, no, I'm addicted to the drama.
Right, because then it even ends with her going,
I'm an addict.
Yeah, oh God. And it's like, come on, this is mixing metaphors. You should have done it. There was a fight from the beginning.
Yeah,
the boxer enters the ring.
I love that. Even though I'm not like an athletic-y metaphor person, like it makes more sense.
It works so much better. And that she's got to get that muscle back.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like and then that would explain like when she fucks up, like it'd be like, oh, she was out of out of the game.
Not that
getting back in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in Stick It when she has to retrain on all her old skills in gymnastics. Like it's a
Totally.
fun little montage.
And this doesn't like negatively affect her life, other than like having to like deal with awful shit. But she's like happier and more well adjusted.
She's more fulfilled by doing this.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's like, do you do what is safe or what fulfills you?
Right. It's not like necessarily destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Womp womp.
There we go. We did it.
Yeah.
We made it through the movie.
We did.
And we did it all in one go.
Yeah, I know. I was suspecting I would need to take a break. Mostly me because I have to pee every 20 minutes.
You do. But you didn't bring any beverages in here. I noticed that.
No. Just like a road trip.
He's going to be dehydrated. You guys, you might not see him next week. We're going to have to get him in a
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that about we've talked about the movie at length, but this is a weird comparison to make. But where does this fall on your personal rankings ish? If
I have to go like bulk seasons versus
which I know is weird, because this is an hour and a half movie compared to like 22, 23 episodes, but I don't know.
Well, we haven't gotten. If I remember correctly, season 4 is my favorite. So 1 and 4 are really high for me.
Mm-hmm.
1. So because we haven't done 4 yet, I don't want to add that in yet. So 1.
Yeah. Excluding 4 because we
it's hard because you need to build off of these to create the other. Like I love Piz, so like I like Piz episodes in season 3, but I don't like the overarching plot of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably go like 1 movie 2, 3.
I am in 100% agreement with you there.
But like if you split season 2 in half, I feel like there's a side of it I like more than the other, you know?
Totally. Yeah, if we were able to come through and stitch some stuff together, working around, it could work. But yeah, there's a lot of problems with this movie, and there's a better movie in here. But I think there's enough just like fun
it feels
moments. Good. Exactly. And it moves fast.
Yes.
For whatever hour 40 that it is. You're kind of moving through everything really quickly, so it works. And they do a good job of like checking in with all the different characters enough without it seeming super forced.
Agreed.
So yeah, it's fun, and I had a very good time with it. And I think that was something that was missing with 3.
I agree.
So it was nice. And some of the things from this will carry over into season 4, if I remember correctly, of that type of addiction shit. Which is a bummer.
I was thinking the corrupt police station. But
yeah. But yeah, we will get there when we get there. But so this, I mean, this got good reviews. Like it got like decent reviews. I would think. I think like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like around like a 79 or something like that.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a movie that's that high on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you go. And
for some reason, every movie I like, it's like 33%.
But I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. There was some like speculation about making a sequel movie. Like, hey, this like might happen, but never did. I mean, obviously we got season 4, which we'll talk a bit more about how that came about in the next one. There was a web spin-off series. That was this like meta commentary called Play It Again Dick, starring Ryan Hansen.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like him going around to try and get his castmates to join a spin-off centered around Dick.
Interesting.
It was like eight episodes on a web series.
Interesting.
After this, yeah. And then there was also a series of novels after this.
I could see that.
Totally, that it makes a lot of sense.
It's like the Mary-Kate and Ashley series. Was it So Little Time or no, the other one? I don't know. There's a couple of them. There's one that they turned into like a book series that I like read every book. But like the show only had like one season.
Oh, that makes sense.
There's like 50 books. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those,
God,
like,
right? Yeah. And they just kept writing a bunch of books for kids.
for the plot.
That's smart.
For the same show.
Yeah.
And then just put pictures of Mary-Kate and Ashley on the front.
Right.
As these two other characters that weren't Mary-Kate and
And
Ashley,
Ashley,
but
right.
were Mary-Kate and Ashley.
They were the detectives kind of thing.
Oh no, but there did have a children's TV or made for, I think it was straight to VHS. Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Oh
if
no,
that
no,
was
this was different. This was just like
like
a show that then they turned into just a bunch of book series about like two preteens.
Oh, okay, got it.
But no, not Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency. That was in there like little.
Right.
Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency will solve any crime by dinner time. Should that be our next show we do?
Perfect.
I only remember the one about the sharks. And
Yeah, we watched that one at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also in San Diego.
It's also in San Diego. Just got a thing for SeaWorld, you know? Just kidding, I really don't. Any last words on this?
No, that's it for me.
All right, well, let's plug.
Let's plug it up.
So you can find me at butreallythough is spelled THO.com. I am a life and career coach. I help people get their shit together. I help people prep for interviews or like make goals, make plans, stick to them, get motivated, build confidence. That's a fun thing to do. We like doing that. You're allowed to be confident. You're allowed to like yourself.
Damn right.
You should like yourself. I don't like to tell people what they should do, but you should like yourself. I want you to like yourself.
We like you.
We like you. We think you're cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can also find me at But Really Though, all one word, on YouTube. I am at BTRLYTHO on Instagram. And you can find us on our other podcast, But Really Though. It is it's a research podcast. We look up things and then we tell each other about them, and they can range from history to bullshit.
Fun facts.
Fun facts or fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just straight up conspiracy theory. Sometimes it's straight up conspiracy. There's no theory involved. And you can stream that wherever you get this podcast from.
Excuse me. Apologies. You can find this podcast on Twitter and Facebook at Mars Rewatch. You can find me on Twitter at Pilebrenton. That's PILEBRENTON. And then you can also find our Let's Play where we're playing through Outer Wilds, where we explore space. That's on my YouTube channel, Burger Discourse.
All right. Stay toasted, marshmallows.